Alright, so this one takes 60 seconds because sometimes videos are way too long and the idea is too complex. That's what I'm talking about. I'm reading and studying today. Um, on the weekend when, other people are doing things, what are you doing? And two things real quick. So this will probably be longer than 60 seconds since this is the first one and kind of breaking down the idea of what 60-second ideas with me are. I want to talk about some things that I'm reading, like pattern analysis, Elliot wave stuff, and this right here I just went ahead and highlighted something for you. It's something that struck me is I'm always talking about multiple time frame patterns and how to actually find something, and it's a bit of a complex idea, but it's not once you get it. So it's talking about double bottoms and tops like reversals, but overall what we're really wanting to convey here is as a reversal pattern it can be very powerful if the pattern is seen on an index chart, and that's cool. But the idea I want you to grasp for any kind of trade is then it's probable that the same pattern will be forming on many stocks that are in the index, right? So if we're talking about trying to find a trade and 3 out of 4 stocks follow the market, okay, and I like to short that one that doesn't, well, how do you go about finding that? Well, you can go over here to like FinViz and you can see here's your sector. So you're talking about multiple frames. So we're going to overlay these from the bottom up. Like if you grab APVO, you see it just popped like crazy. You can go over here and see, okay, it's biotechnology. You can see where this stock is at in its life cycle, right? But let's go see in biotech, who the sector leader is. Is this common for that? Is everything going that direction? Let's go look at the volume and, who was that day. So APVO is, number 2 on the list and Guild. But most of these guys, just roll through the charts and see if this is a common occurrence. Are they mostly up or down, or they kind of all following a trend, like Fold, Excel, a few of these, like INFI is in a downtrend, but, last few days it's seen consolidation and it's starting to pop up. So, from there you'd want to go back and look at, we'll jump over my platform. So there you can look at the SPY. How's the SPY been going? How's the NASDAQ been going? They're about the same. So I have to pull this out for the INDC. Look, these almost all follow each other. The Dow Jones, they're all pretty much dipping at the same time. They're all pretty much pushing at the same time. You got your VIX over here. It'll tell you, how volatile something is. Like, 10, around 10 is, seems pretty stable for options for the Chicago Board of Exchanges. Calls and puts and options and things. So up above around 15, or moving up just starts to show that there's some indecision in the market and that people are, starting to worry. And 30 is like fucking crazy for volatility. So if you look at this trend overall, like the SPY, like there's some pullback days and people like, I think right around here's where the missile got shot. Ooh, whoop-de-doo. And it was a day for people to take a whole bunch of money from other people that got scared. People with deep pockets knew that, nothing's really going to happen. Like, and even if it does, they'll just keep buying. They'll just buy everything up. And when we're done waxing North Korea off the fucking map, they'll own everything. So overall, it's in a decent trend. We'll go look at the weeklies. Oh, look, overall it's in a good trend. So starting to line up. Go look at that biotech, right? You look at its sector and start talking about that. How do the indexes look? Are the indexes in general up? Are they in generally topping? Are they in generally pulling back? And then how does your sector look? How does your sector leaders look? The 3 out of 4 stocks that are going that way, if they're all going up and they're all kind of matching, then you're pretty much, that's the trend you're in, and you can try to catch a pullback day. Like right here. These were all, you kind of saw that little right there. Okay, it's topping out. It's showing signs of it can't push any higher, so it's going to pull back. Well, probably on those days, if 3 out of 4 stocks follow this as well, probably your stocks were pulling back that day. So if you were trying to go long right here, and you're like, oh, fuck, man, it's overall on an uptrend. Yeah, it is an overall uptrend, but you still got to pay attention to the dailies. Things pull back. So that's how people get clipped. They're shortening long at the wrong time, and even though the trend overall is up, they're getting clipped on, those momentary pullbacks, or, these guys right here that were dip buying, these guys were smart. They saw that this couldn't really push down any further. It got about as low as it's going to get. It could have went down to there, and who knows how they set their risk. But either way, those bottom wicks and top wicks, you generally got to respect those. So longer than a 60-second trade idea, but I wanted people to understand, like, it doesn't take that much to really understand how to find the direction on your chart or on your ticker. So again, like if we were to pull up, not dries, oof, such a piece of shit, that's an outlier. Let's just pull up, what did I trade in TNX? So NTNX, if you're sitting there and you're looking at its overall trend, yeah, it's working its way up, and it had too much pop here, so it had some pullback, and it's trying again, and it's failing. But again, compare that over to like what is the what's the Nasdaq look like overall? Well, weird. Those two charts look pretty damn close to the same, dude. Like they're kind of following the same trend. So you kind of line those up. If you're setting up a trade idea and you're trying to decide long or short and where you want to get at, put your support and res in. Go look at where your overall market's at, how it's going to affect your sector, and then go look at your sector and see what it's been doing, overall. And that's just for the day, but you got an idea. Like if everything's down in technology for that day and financials all up, well then you could have shorted this one right here. That one's getting its ass kicked, or you could have longed this one special guy inside the industrial goods while everything else was getting beat down. But those are the things you have to know, like to line it up, to get you an overall idea, and then you can drop down into the actual chart, particularly not from the dailies but down to like the minutes, and then see there's great money to be made here. Even though it's an overall uptrend and it's been winding up, it overpopped way too far, and that's it. It just got handled, and even when it came back and tried to test again, it failed. So that's kind of an anomaly day, and that's the days where I want to show up in short. But overall, I want to know, like, if it's in an uptrend, like, could that keep going? Sure, it could. But start drilling down to your time frames, and that's it. That's all I traded. Who cares? Next week, someone's like, oh, it's going to go to 30. Well, I was in up in here several times, and I was out down in here. I don't care where it goes in a week because I'm not a swing trader, and, I'm not going to be here that long. So that's how you find your entries and exits, kind of on the quickness, by looking at the multiple time frames from the base of the indice, base of the index, base of the overall market, base of your sector, and just go from there. It's pretty much that simple. Any further questions, you can always email me, and I will answer anything that I can for you in 60-second videos. Quick as fuck. This one's just longer so you understood the base of why we're looking at that way.